Sup guys, this is Tacho here, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of builds for the new Ike that we got. So this is Vanguard Legend Ike. He is the Earth Legendary Hero, and he's going to be able to provide some blessing buffs to your teammates. So really nice. His blessing is going to give plus 3 HP and plus 2 attack. So it's a very solid stat buff to have, and I would say it's one of the more desirable blessing buffs. So it's really nice that he gets that. And of course, blessings are very good for arena scoring, so if you need to stay in tier 20, then this guy can definitely help you out with that. Now, when I first saw this guy's stats, I was a little bit underwhelmed, seeing as how he's really just a buffed up Path of Radiance Ike. But I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, you know, this guy is actually pretty real. Because, of course, Path of Radiance Ike has been outclassed by Ira and Zelgius at this point. Yes, Path of Radiance Ike is still a very good unit, but he can't really compete with some of the new units we've been getting. And this Ike actually holds his own against them because they can't give out blessings like he can. So this Ike does have one advantage over them. And also, unlike Fiorm, who you really only want to use during her season, this Ike is going to be solid outside of his season as well, seeing as how he's just another distant counter red sword with Ragnall. And there's always a spot on your team for a distant counter red sword. Also, another nice thing about him is that Radiant Aether is the fastest Aether in the game, with a 4-hit cooldown. And because his neutral HP stat is only 41, it's very easy for his allies to get Infantry Pulse off on him, and you can lower the cooldown of that even further, seeing as how he's giving them plus 3 HP with the blessing. So that's pretty cool, and it gives him some nice synergy with his teammates. And Infantry Pulse became a whole lot more accessible now that we got Marissa as a free unit and she comes with it. So that's always an option if you want to build Ike that way. Now, as far as his weaknesses go, this Ike is a little bit slow, and that's going to make it very easy for his opponents to get double attacks on him. And he's going to be very susceptible to double attacks, seeing as how he doesn't have Irvon to protect him like the Brave Ike has. But overall, though, that's still not that big of a problem. Also, his player phase is going to be very average thanks to that low speed. So if you try to initiate with him, he's not going to be getting doubles too often. So that could be a problem. And even though he does come with built-in distant counter, his low res does make it a bit tough for him to deal with certain mages. So you may have to use certain skills like Warding Breath and Distant Defense to allow him to take on those mages. But still, it's not a big deal to give him those things, so overall, this Ike is a very solid unit. So let's move on to the builds. My first build for you guys is going to be a budget build. So we're really not going to change his default kit that much. The only thing we're doing is giving him reposition as his assist, and we're swapping out his B-slot passive for Vantage 3. Vantage 3 is pretty easy to get from either a 4-star Lonku or a 4-star Reinhardt. So not very hard to get that. Also, if you wanted, you could give him Quick Repost 2 or 3. 3, of course, is harder to get since it's 5-star locked. But Quick Repost 2 is not that bad. And it's on 4-star Tsubaki and Klein. So that's another option. But it is better to run Quick Repost 3 in the Sacred Seal slot, since it's not going to cost you 20,000 feathers to get that. But of course, if you did run Quick Repost in his B slot, then you would go ahead and give this guy the Distant Defense Sacred Seal. We're keeping Warding Breath since it's going to help out his res and make him a better magic tank. And this Ike is going to be very solid against a wide variety of opponents thanks to that. And Defense Tactic is a very solid C-slot passive for buffing your teammates. But of course, the C-slot passive is always flexible. You can use other stat buffing skills if you wanted, like Hones or Fortifies, or even Drive skills. So overall, this Ike is pretty much intended to bait foes, and he's going to have a very good enemy phase, but not so great of a player phase. So overall, pretty good for a budget build. Now, my next build for you guys is going to be called the Instant Aether. Now, what's really special about this build is that this Ike can actually proc Aether on the first attack, so long as you have just one ally on the team with Infantry Pulse. And a really nice choice for that ally is going to be Fa, or Faye, as a lot of people like to correct me on. But it is Fa, guys. That is her Japanese name, so that's why I call her Fa. There is a reason why I'm doing it. It's not because I can't read. But I digress. Fa is a very good teammate for him since this Ike is going to have trouble against blue mages and Fa can bait them for him. Also, she has very high HP and it's really easy for her to infantry pulse this Ike. And once you do that, with the Slaying Edge in tow, this guy is going to be able to proc Radiant Aether on the first attack, as long as the foes hit him first and give him steady breath. So really cool stuff, and you're just going to nail that first opponent real bad and then heal your HP back up. Also, we have Wrath on this build to make Aether even more deadly and allow him to heal some more HP and deal some more damage. Quick repost in the Sacred Seal slot yet again, so he can actually manage to double opponents and his low speed stat is not that big of a problem. And we're keeping Defense Tactic yet again, but like I said earlier, there's a lot of options for changing that. And now that we're running Slaying Edge with a refinement, Infantry Pulse becomes a viable option on him since his HP is getting +5. So overall, this is a really cool build, and even though it does take a bit of investment, it is a really nice one to be able to get that early Aether. Now, moving on to the third build, this one is going to be trying to turn Ike into a player phase unit, but of course that does come at the cost of cutting his enemy phase prowess a little bit. So we're running Brazen Attack and Defense in the A slot, and we have Desperation and Brash Assault. So this is sort of like a Danger Ike build where you're going to want him to be low on HP so his kit can really come into play. And it's not hard for this Ike to get low on health since all you need to do is get hit by a green tome unit like Nino or Cecilia that have some buffs. And Ike is going to take quite a bit of damage from them, but he's not going to die, and he will be able to one-shot them on the retaliation. And after that happens, you're pretty much golden because all his skills are going to be active with the HP requirement, and you will be able to deal some massive damage to an opponent when you initiate on them. So, very nice player phase Ike here. Of course, Brazen Attack and Defense is not easy to come by since it's only on Christmas Crom. But once Crom comes back, you will be able to gain that. And if you don't want to use that, you can always run Deathblow 3 in the A slot, which is accessible from a 4-star Klein. Other options also include the Dragon Special Attacks, since this Ike is going to have a high attack stat, and dealing extra damage with his special is going to help him really one-shot foes with that double attack from Brash Assault and Desperation 3. Another option you can do is run Reciprocal Aid on him instead of Reposition, and Reciprocal Aid can also help him get below half health so Brash Assault can kick in. So this is a really fun Ike build, and if you want your Ike to be a player phase unit, this is definitely the way to go. And my final build for Ike today is going to be a defensive variant. We're running plus defense and minus speed Ivies. And with Armor Smasher with the defense refinement, this Ike has 42 defense without any merges. So really good, and after Steady Breath and Close Defense kick in, this Ike is getting plus 10 defense. So he's pretty much at 52 defense after all that. And on a defense tile, there's not going to be many melee opponents that can actually hurt this guy. Also, armored units run rampant in tier 20, and with Armor Smasher, this guy is going to wreck them really bad. So pretty fun stuff. Threaten Attack in the C slot to lower enemies' attack stats and just make this Ike even more of a tank. And of course, Radiant Aether has that really nice cooldown cost, so it is reliable for healing him up. And with Quick Repost and Steady Breath, you're pretty much going to be activating that in every round of combat. So very nice. Other options for this build are going to include Panic Ploy for the C-slot passive, seeing as how we have plus 5 HP from Armor Smasher. Also, other tactic skills can work. Drive skills will work as well. Infantry Pulse is nice since he has that plus 5 HP. And Attack Smoke is another option for attack debuffing if you don't want to run Threaten Attack. Also, you can run Slaying Edge or Zanbato in the weapon slot. It's pretty much going to be up to you. Although Armor Smasher is very nice in tier 20. And finally, in the A slot, you do have the option of doubling up on Close Defense 3. Or you can also run Warding Breath. And these are going to help you out against dragon opponents, since they're going to hit Ike's res stat. And it will be nice to have a little extra res against them. So that's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed my builds for the new Vanguard Legend Ike. He is a really awesome unit, and a lot of people are kind of looking down on him because he's not really that impressive stat-wise. But after you take everything into consideration and the fact that he can give blessing buffs to his allies, I think this guy is really solid, and he does have some nice advantages over the other top-tier red swords. So he's definitely worth using, and if you manage to get him, then you're definitely living the life. So as always, guys, this is your boy Tacho signing out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, cheers, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.